The trade hub of Varelian Station floated serenely at the edge of the Grax Nebula, its shining hull catching streaks of pink and gold from the swirling gases beyond. Thousands of species came here. Merchants, smugglers, diplomats, and those who didn't fit neatly into any category. For the Graxian merchants on Dock 6, life was predictable, until the human showed up. His name, according to the manifest, was Evan Cole, a Terran engineer from a backwater blue planet most aliens knew only as the death world with too much water. He was tall for his species, lean in a wiry way, and carried the calm, unhurried air of someone who had seen storms far worse than the daily chaos of the station. It wasn't Evan that first drew the crowd, it was what walked beside him. The creature was huge, easily twice Evan's height when standing on its hind legs. It had matte black fur, eyes like molten gold, and a maw filled with serrated teeth. Its gait was a smooth predator's prowl, each step whisper-quiet despite the size. The Graxians froze. Someone whispered, "Is that a Kirin?" A Kirin was a Class 7 predator on the Galactic Danger Index. They were apex hunters from a death world even harsher than Earth's worst deserts. In every known encounter, Kirin killed first, asked no questions later, and left nothing behind but shredded remains. And yet, Evan had it on a leash. No, not even a leash. A simple length of woven cord tied loosely around its neck. It wasn't being dragged. It followed him willingly. The murmurs turned to horrified gasps when Evan stopped at a food stall, bought something steaming in a metal pouch, and fed it to the predator. The Kirin didn't attack. It sat, like a domesticated animal, tail curling lazily, waiting for Evan to tear open the pouch and hand-feed it strips of meat. From the corner of the crowd, a Graxian merchant muttered in disbelief. "He's feeding it like it's a pet." Middle rumors and confrontations. Within a day, the story spread across the station. By the third day, it had reached the station security council. You couldn't just walk a Class 7 predator through a densely populated trade hub. That violated about 17 safety protocols and 3 interstellar treaties. But before the authorities could act, curiosity outweighed caution. They sent investigator Twerken, a 6-eyed insectoid, to speak to the human. Twerken found Evan in the maintenance bay, repairing a cargo hauler stabilizer. The Kirin, still nameless to everyone but Evan, sat nearby, its eyes tracking the buzzing drones overhead but making no move to attack. "Human," Twerken clicked. "That animal is prohibited in all civilized ports. Explain yourself before I have it sedated and ejected into space." Evan didn't even look up from the stabilizer panel. First of all, her name's Shadow. Second, she's not dangerous. Not dangerous. Twerken's antennae twitched in disbelief. A Kirin has the strength to crush my thorax in a single swipe. It is a nightmare apex predator. Evan finally looked up, his voice calm but carrying a steel edge. Shadow was abandoned as a cub after her mother was killed in a hunting trap. I found her on the edge of the cradle belt when I was working salvage. If I hadn't stepped in, she'd have starved. Erased her. She trusts me. Trust. Twerken tilted his head, mandibles clicking. Do you expect us to believe a creature like that has loyalty? Evan's lips curved into a faint smile. Trust me. Humans have a knack for making friends where others only see monsters. The investigator was about to respond when something strange happened. A dock worker dropped a heavy crate nearby. The sound was loud enough to make every alien in the bay flinch. Shadow reacted instantly, jumping not toward the worker, but in front of Evan, hackles raised, teeth bared at the source of the noise. Evan froze. It's protecting him. The human simply scratched the beast's neck. "Easy, girl. It's fine." The Kirin relaxed immediately, returning to her seated position like nothing had happened. Arkan left without ordering the sedatives. Tension builds, the threat. A week later, the station had almost gotten used to the sight of the human and his predator pet. Some merchants even began to think of them as part of the scenery. An oddity, sure, but harmless enough. That illusion shattered when the Vorkath syndicate arrived. The Vorkath were a ruthless gang of raiders who offered protection to merchants, at the price of nearly all their profit. Those who refused found their ships sabotaged, their goods stolen or worse. They'd heard of Evan's pet, and decided it would make a fine trophy, and a way to break the human spirit in front of everyone. The confrontation happened in the central market. Evan was restocking parts for the maintenance bay when 4 towering Vorkath enforcers surrounded him. Their leader, a scarred brute named Kor Varric, jabbed a claw toward Shadow. "That's a fine beast, human. Hand it over, and maybe we won't break your bones." Shadow's lips peeled back in a silent snarl, but Evan laid a calming hand on her shoulder. His voice was quiet, almost conversational. "She's not for sale." Kor's grin widened. "Then we'll take her. And when she rips one of us apart, we'll tell security it was your fault." The market crowd had gone silent. Every alien watched breathless. Most expected Evan to back down. After all, the Vorkath weren't to be trifled with. Instead, the human reached into his pouch and pulled out a small strip of dried meat. He held it up. "Shadow," he said softly. "Guard." The Kirin moved like lightning. One moment she was beside him. The next, she was a black blur, pinning Kor Varric to the ground with one massive paw. Her claws were extended just enough to prick the Vorkath's thick hide. Her golden eyes locked on his face, and for the first time in years, Kor looked afraid. Evan crouched beside them. His voice was still calm, but now it carried a deadly undertone. "You see, she's not a weapon. She's my friend. But if you threaten her, or me, she won't hesitate." Kor swallowed hard, nodding stiffly. Evan gave a short whistle, and Shadow stepped back, returning to his side like nothing had happened. The Vorkath slunk away, their intimidation shattered. The market erupted into whispers. The human hadn't just tamed a predator. He'd commanded it with nothing but a word. The real test, when the station needed them. 2 weeks later, danger came from an unexpected direction. A ship belonging to the Dravik Marauders, notorious pirates from the outer sectors, breached the station perimeter. They didn't send warnings or demands. They just started boarding. Station security scrambled, but the Dravik were already flooding the docking bays, their heavy armor shrugging off blaster fire. Evan was in Dock 6 when it happened. The first wave of marauders crashed through the airlock, and found themselves face to face with a 900-pound Kirin whose eyes burned like molten metal. Shadow didn't wait for orders this time. She launched herself into the attackers with bone-breaking force. Claws tore through armor. Jaws crushed weapons. Her roar echoed off the walls, freezing the Dravik in their tracks for precious seconds. Seconds Evan used to grab a fallen blaster and join the fight. They fought like a unit. Shadow would tackle enemies, leaving them exposed for Evan to fire. Evan would cover her flank, blasting anyone who tried to aim at her.